You're listening to the Hello Lovely podcast with Christie Williams, episode 85. Hello Lovely. First off, it feels so good to be back. There hasn't been a break in podcasts for you, but I've been out of town for 2 weeks and took off completely. No work for my business, and it was excellent. Hubby and I went to Paris to celebrate our 20-year wedding anniversary. 20 years of marriage. What? And it was a dream. It truly was a dream. We enjoyed it so much. A big part of the success of that trip was intentional planning in advance. Not only for the trip itself, which we'll save for another episode, but pre-planning so I could be absorbed in the vacation without having things left open before we left. Today I'm going to give you the strategy I used and the mindset to support that strategy. 2 things that will set you up for success too, and they are foundations of the work we do in session each week with clients. So here we go. First things first is I decided how I wanted to feel when I was on vacation. Going to Paris for 2 weeks, I wanted to be very intentional about how I wanted to feel while I was there. Does that seem wild to you? It does to me, and I do this on purpose. The fact that you can decide in advance how you want to set up your mind and your trip and how you want to feel so you can enjoy your vacation. So I wanted to be clear on what I wanted to feel. So what I wanted to feel was focused on hubby, flexible with unknowns because those always come up on trips, prepared with all the tickets because we had a lot of activities and different locations we were going to. Not worried about the price of each menu item, not thinking or worried about work, not worried if I had to pay a bill or some kind of utility, having those left open-ended while we were gone. So I sat down and decided I want to feel free and appreciative on my trip. Free and appreciative. Good to know. We'll come back to how that worked out later. The next thing I did was I wrote down all the things I had to do before we left in categories. My business, my life, my trip. So for example, for biz, what I had to do in order to make sure my business was taken care of while we were gone was record 6 podcasts. That means writing, recording, editing, uploading, and giving my media specialist everything she needed before I left. I needed to write 4 lovely letters for my community and set up the post schedule on social media. I also needed to set up the consult schedule so people knew while I was away, we weren't going to have consults available, but they could pre-book for when I got back and jump the line. For life, I needed to bill pay, transfer funds for bill pay, get a house sitter, get my nails done, let friends know we'd be out of town, and some other things behind the scenes. For the trip, I needed to pack, get data and international cellular service for our phone, which I found one I absolutely love, by the way. A power adapter, buy a $15 flat iron when I got to France, so I didn't need to buy a $40 converter here. Schedule the itinerary, pack tickets in order by date so I could have them in front of me. So once I listed all of that out, I had the list. So I didn't have to worry about what do I need to do and I don't know what to do and there's this weight on me. Everything was on the list and I could see it clearly in my hands, out of my head. Then I put it into the calendar in enough time in advance that I wouldn't have to do everything at once. Such a gift to yourself when you don't wait to the last minute and you do give yourself enough time. I gave myself 5 weeks. So having this data in hand, weight off my mind, I created a temporary schedule. This means the next 5 weeks were going to be different than my usual schedule, but still intentional as heck. And still energizing, because this is important. This is a foundation I live by. There are some pointers I'll share with you that make a temporary schedule even more successful. And clients appreciate hearing this because there's sometimes things we don't think about and they're simple guidelines. So I'm going to share them with you here. When you're making a temporary schedule, you want to have 3 basic guidelines to start with. A wake-up time, a stop work time, and a bedtime. This is a simple strategy to give you a guideline to build your regular routine around as well. So having those 3 things during a regular, quote unquote, week are amazing as well. But it's even more powerful. I truly believe it's even more powerful when planning a trip or a temporary schedule, because temporary schedules usually do involve some form of more work. The actual volume of work you're doing is usually more, and that is not a problem. It's on purpose. So setting yourself up with a guide with those 3 things is in your favor. 1, a wake up time. 2, a stop work time. And 3, a bedtime. My wake up time was 6 o'clock. My stop work time was 6 o'clock and my bedtime was 10. So usually I stop work before that. So I was making these adjustments fresh for this temporary schedule. And sometimes I went to bed earlier than 10 because I love sleeping and I was done for the day. And for me, I would rather enjoy some yummy, cozy sleep than watch TV. So that's what I did. But the bedtime was by 10. So with these simple guidelines, I took those to-do items, those lists of items I referenced earlier, and I put them into the schedule for the next 5 weeks, using those 3 things as a guide. The mindset I had to support those 5 weeks was a combination of 3 thoughts. So I want to point out that a mindset can be a thought you choose as a theme for a circumstance you're in. I'm going to repeat that again. A mindset can be a thought you choose as a theme for a circumstance you're in. And the power of this mindset, choosing a powerful thought as a theme for a circumstance you're in, will change everything. Okay. So the mindset I had to support those 5 weeks was a combination of these 3 thoughts. My clients will be well cared for. We're going to have the best trip, and there's no rush. These are the 3 thoughts I held on to and lived by for those 5 weeks. Because one thing I also didn't mention was while I was gone, there was going to be 3 weeks where I wasn't meeting in person with all of my clients. And I wanted to make sure they were well cared for. This is a heavy-hearted responsibility I take on purpose to give my clients the best results, is to make sure they are well cared for and they have everything they need to create 100% results, whether I'm on vacation or not. So one of the things I scheduled in advance was to make sure they each had virtual video sessions ahead of time, each week scheduled, and they would get them on the week that I was gone. So they didn't have everything at once, kept it simple. Whether or not I do that in the future, TBD, y'all. But this was something that is important in this moment of my life, in this temporary schedule, and believing and owning the thought my clients will be well cared for gave me the drive to make that happen. So I'll say those 3 thoughts again. My clients will be well cared for. We're going to have the best trip and there's no rush. This was the theme of my temporary schedule. The result was I enjoyed the effort I put in so much. I look forward to this temporary schedule, knowing exactly what I was doing, not wondering when I'm going to stop, how much work I have to do, but being very intentional in advance and knowing where I was going to rest as well. I delivered the highest quality products in my business ahead of time to current clients and the community, and I had quality rest time. Do y'all hear me on this? Quality rest time. Without guilt, stress about getting work done, quality. And we enjoyed the trip of a lifetime. Leaving to go to Paris, knowing that everything was done, was huge. It was encouraging for the next trip and shows what's possible. It just reproved to me while we were gone that now this is just how we're going to continue doing these trips. And this is what a temporary schedule looks like. When you are intentional with your schedule, it creates freedom. So back to how I wanted to feel while we were gone, free and appreciative. And that was created. That was the theme of the trip. All of that despite I was randomly security checked on all of our flights. Jason and I made a joke about it like, it's not random anymore. Our main bag didn't make it back with us from Geneva to Paris for at least 3 days. Our Paris airport terminal shut down on the way home for an hour while we were checking in, and the bomb squad had to be called in to confirm an unattended bag that was safe. They actually blew it open while we were there. I have it on video. And we had to be directed to agriculture for an hour when we got home because I had a half-eaten Starbucks sandwich from France that I didn't get to finish eating on the plane. You can't bring ham home from France, FYI. Those things happened and we dealt with them, and they didn't ruin our trip. Things were so taken care of on the back end that we could truly view those moments as part of our story that would be funny later and move forward. And they kind of are, aren't they? So what are your takeaways? If this is the first time you've prepared or thought of preparing for a trip like this before, let it be possible. Let go of any comparison of past trips that you shoulda, coulda, whatever. Let this be what's available to you now with this data and information, and enjoy the effort that goes into planning and execution for you. And if this is resonating with you and you want to have more freedom in your routine, the lovely program is for you. Work with me one-on-one and you will have work-life balance too. Here's how. Schedule a program consultation to get started. You can do that by going to MissChristieWilliams.com. That's www.MissChristiWilliams.com and click Work with Christie. Please tag your favorite gems from this episode and save it for the future every time you are planning a trip or making a temporary schedule. And I will see you next time, lovely.